Shaun and I are just joshing.
Oh fuck.
Um.
Hey, hey, to be fair, I never saw it.
Okay. Wait.
Just,
What's
just throwing that out there.
on this podcast? Yo. I was actually looking at my notes because I wrote video in an arcade top 10. Now, okay, set the scene, guys. If for all you Twitch gamers out there or whatever YouTube gamers, Canada had this one show that every single video game addict was addicted to, and Shaun worked for them, and I was so jealous. Shaun, you don't understand how jealous I was because you
I've
were
heard this
there.
from many males from our age group.
So, Video and Arcade Top 10 is a show on YTV, right?
Yeah.
Was it the YTV show where a host named Nicholas Pickles
Yeah.
is that his?
That was his catchphrase. That was the tagline. So is that his real name? No, it's not his real name. I don't think.
What's his real name? Like Ralph?
No.
Ralph Alf.
It's not. I think
Ralph
it's
Alf.
Ralph Alf. I think it's something Greek, if I'm not mistaken. But I might be wrong.
Oh, okay. Like Tzatziki Sunrise.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna cut that out.
Souvlaki says a lot.
So yeah, he would be the host of this video game show competition, right?
Yeah, it'd just be like
What else?
contestants would try to get as far as they could in the game before the episode ended, I guess.
That's amazing. And the prizes, and you know what's crazy too? I just realized this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a picture-in-picture. You know how Twitch gamers have the video game,
Yeah.
and then you get a little picture-in-picture thing. I was like, wait, they did this years ago.
That's true, actually. That was like, this was very ahead of the time.
Mm-hmm. Also, they promoted, I believe, only Nintendo games.
No,
Right?
no, actually. So the weird thing was, so as it got, I don't know about when we were younger, but definitely as we got older, they had PlayStation, they had Xbox, they had, and they had Dreamcast or whatever. Maybe not Dreamcast, but they had GameCube. I think.
Okay.
I was on for the last 3 seasons. I was working on it, so just as like a PA, I did a few different jobs. I did like, I worked in the practice room where you teach kids how to play the games in case they didn't know, or just give them like a 5-minute.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So they have 5 minutes to kind of get acquainted with it. So I'd try to show them around with that, or we'd be like leading the studio audience, or just whatever mindless stuff that we had to do, or like replacing the games in between takes and stuff like that.
Did you ever see any of the kids cry because they weren't playing or they were just so jealous?
Oh yeah, so many of these kids were spoiled, entitled, just trash. Some of them were cool, like it was, and depend, like some of the parents would get really mad if their kid didn't get to be on a certain time, or, like, didn't win, and you'd have to be like trying to calm them down. It was super weird. But, like,
calm them
but
down.
as the last 3 years went on, it just got like, they were just trying to like squeeze everything out of this show that they could. So they were just like getting more and more like just ghetto and budget. Like we were cutting like, so there was like a new Xbox and there was like a PS2 by this point, and like they still weren't replacing them. So we would still be playing like old systems and like old games. So it was like 2005, and the kids are playing like NHL Hits 2002. And we're like, what is going on here?
on Super Game Boy.
Yeah, just like, oh my god! But,
yo, I hated that. Sometimes we'd be like, oh, now we're gonna be playing a video game, but on Game Boy, but on Super Game Boy. So we're just gonna convert it. Yo, like what? No, I don't want.
And they would have they got rid of studio partners and then home partners eventually, so they started like giving less prizes away. So it was just like,
what do you win? I don't know, your high score.
It was a bit of a disaster. So actually, one of the best stories from there is there's one. So we didn't shoot it the same way that like a lot of TV shows do, which like makes sense, which is you have like one episode a week or one episode every time you produce. We would produce like 8 episodes in a day, and that would last for like the month or whatever, or 2 months.
Oh god!
So it'd be like just one Sunday, and we go in and we got paid $75 to be there for like 13 hours. It was ridiculous.
Yo, that's so fucking bullshit.
Stupid. So
that's like less than minimum.
Oh, absolutely. At that point, it was less than minimum. So it'd be like you get there.
They're like, Shaun, you owe us 75 cents. But I gave you my time. Yeah, but
be like, like by the end, it'd be like, oh man, if you get like up to like 85 or 100 for the day, and I'm like, that's still like, what are we doing? Like, I make more at Loblaws right now at my grocery store job. But
If you want to make more, you probably gotta lick Nicholas Pickleus's Dickless.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
I was saving that for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I don't think I
Oh, we
should
always used to
say
say Nicholas Pickles, smell my Dickless. I don't know. That was the thing that like it's so stupid. But I remember this one
Video
day, so
arcade
we would
top
bus in
10
like
inches.
kids for like half a day. There'd be like a huge group. And so like the huge group for the half day would like rotate being part of the audience and being kids that were playing. So you got like a bunch of kids who got to play, not maybe everybody, but most. When you run through
Mm-hmm.
we do like 3 or 4 episodes in the morning, and then in the afternoon it'd be like a different set of kids. And then they would do like 4 episodes. So whatever, it worked out. But there was one day where there's a snowstorm, like a horrible snowstorm where like a bunch of people couldn't drive or couldn't make it in. So we get there and there's like 10 kids, like max 10 kids. So they can't get through all the episodes they plan to tape. So their idea was to get us to play. Like so all the
Oh my
PAs
god.
and we're all like in our 20s with like patchy, shitty facial hair. Like, we don't look 10.
Puberty.
We don't look like children at all. So they're trying to do as few shots of our faces as we can, but then at the end, it's like they have to do the winner, and we're like towering over the game systems, and, like, and we played Luigi, which was the only game I didn't know how to play. So I was so pissed. Like I would dominate in every other game. We play Luigi's Mansion for game. I don't even know what to do with this game.
The CEO was like, "Why is Drake playing?"
Yeah, pretty.
Goddamn.
Drake's dad's on Video and Arcade Top. This is so weird.
Young money.
Some white kid in Canada is like, "Why is a janitor from my school there?" Ah! And then he hits his wall with more holes in it.
And I think James Trousey or Brian Dunn, two other RTA alumni.
Love those guys.
One of them
Those are the best.
that day.
Wait.
So they had to pick the ball out of like the prize pit, but like their arm reaches the bottom, like whereas like other kids can barely reach into like this like
Trousey?
It was Trousey or Brian Dunn. I can't remember which one. One of them.
Oh my god. Yo, let's give a shout out to Brian Dunn and Trousey for making it big.
Hey,
I love those guys.
Brian Dunn's like a superstar in Korea. And recently won on The Price is Right.
I know. I wish. Oh my god, Brian Dunn. You know what? We're gonna Brian Dunn. If you're listening, we're so happy. I got so serious.
Yeah, he called me
that's the thing.
He joined my Zoom call on my birthday, and we were talking about his Price is Right venture. It was awesome.
Oh, amazing.
So he and I also both from Mississauga, so suburb of Toronto.
I love Brian Dunn because you see his life, and that's what you expect out of it.
Yeah, it's like one of those weird things where it's like you could.
I see your life, Shaun. I've always seen your fucking life, and look at you now. I'm so proud of you. I remember, dudes. If you don't know Shaun, tell him about why you got kicked out.
Oh my!
I was trying to get back to that as soon as possible.
I was really thinking maybe we'd forgotten about it.
No, man, let's go. Okay, set the scene.
All right, scene is I was like the in-house voice of the Ryerson Rams for a couple of years. And Ryerson Rams was like our sports team, so we had like volleyball and basketball that were out of like this old gym from the 50s with no ventilation. So now they're like out of Maple Leaf Gardens, this beautiful facility. We were in this like just
asbestos hole.
So anyway, so we didn't really have a broadcasting team. We didn't have like play-by-play. So we had like the in-house like announcer was also kind of like play-by-play. He kind of just did everything. And it was just over the loudspeaker. So, I would do that for a couple of years. And there was a tournament. It was like around, I think it might have been around Christmas time. We used to have this tournament where other teams would come to Toronto and play Ryerson like at our gym. And like other teams, all their family and friends would come because it was a chance to like go to the big city from other places in Canada, but no one from Ryerson would go. Like we had no fans would ever attend. So the last year of doing it, all of a sudden we had a couple of good players on the team. So we had like some fans in the place. Like there were players who could have gone to the States and played. So we had some fans plus like all the families were in. We actually had like a decent atmosphere. And so I just remember like at one point, one of our like the athletic like the guy who ran the little like game officials team and like the guy who ran like how we like broadcasted these games or how we produced them or whatever, came up to me and was like, "Hey, we have a bigger crowd. Like, let's get a little more into it, be a little more colorful, like talk about, be a little like get the crowd involved." Like, awesome. This is what I've been wanting to do, and you've always told me not to, but cool, I'll do that. And so we started making some, just a couple of jokes here and there, something along the lines
Of
of
course.
Lakehead's been, Lakehead must have been to the bakery because they've got a ton of turnovers today. This team was looking, Lakehead's like, let's be looking to acquire frequent flyer miles because they just continue to travel. This team got like 4 traveling calls in like 5 minutes. You know how hard that is to do? That's like like that'd be like not learning how to play basketball and then doing it at a varsity level. It made no sense. So I just called them out for that. And their coach lost his mind. He was like a military guy, and he just lost his mind. Started yelling, screaming at me. His teammates were his players were super embarrassed. They were like kind of laughing, but he was so mad. He came over screaming at the refs to throw me out of the gym, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, first of all, it's a joke. Second of all, your team is traveling. Like, these are just like facts here. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. So my boss comes over and he's like, "Oh man, like I told you to, like, we this guy's getting too angry. You're gonna have to tone it down." I'm like, okay. And I don't remember what the last joke I made was, but it wasn't anything like, it was very innocuous. There was nothing like rude or like mean about it. It was a joke. And that guy lost it again. The ref came over and was like, "Man, you're killing it right now, but can you just go easy because this guy is gonna make our lives a nightmare. Like, we can't handle this guy anymore." They'd already given him a test. They didn't want to throw him out of the game. So
It's the best part.
So,
You are not playing mind games with the other players.
no,
You're
just
playing mind games with the fucking coach.
I was just so mad at this guy. He was like,
"You got him."
He was on this weird power trip, and I'm like, "What is this guy's problem?" And you know what it is?
God.
I remember all I said was, the guy on our team hit a free throw, and their fans were being so aggressive towards him, and he made like the motion to his, like, he went to like quiet the crowd. I was like, "Oh," and he like silences his critics. Boris Bakovich silences his critics. And that's what that coach lost it over. And I'm like, but that's literally what just happened. It wasn't even like, oh my God. So after that game, the boss came and said, like, you can't be on the mic anymore. And I was like,
he cut you off.
Like, for doing my job and doing what you told me to do originally, which is try to get people into it. People were into it. We won the game. Like, what do you want? Like, and then so we didn't have anybody to take over. So there's one guy who took over. It was almost illiterate. Like, this guy couldn't speak. So he would get on the mic.
He was like traveling with his words.
He'd get on the mic and just blank and like couldn't say anything. So then they had to get rid of him. And then my boss started doing it, which I think was his end game. I think my boss wanted to do it when he saw fans were starting to come to games. And he was also a brown guy, which is some bullshit. God damn. Because I thought, like, this guy shouldn't be holding me down.
Shit.
Chris Nadvalil.
Call him out.
So he took over, and then he had no expression. Nobody cared anymore, and I still worked for the team. I did other stuff, but like,
they knew you were the best.
Well, I had guys,
they just couldn't handle
guys on the basketball team were like supporting me. Like, they were like, "This is completely ridiculous. We loved having the calls." So I was like,
"Shaun, tell my the 2% from Germany where you work."
I work at TSN. So that is like the Canadian affiliate, or Canadian version of ESPN, I guess. So yeah, I work there, do a little bit of everything to get SportsCenter off the ground, and it's kind of what I do.
I remember
like
that
working with James Wan, but like, sorry.
Dude, trust me, yo, you don't understand how sad I got when you told me you went to teaching school. I believe,
yeah,
is that right?
College, yeah.
What made you pause that?
Well,
because that had nothing to do with sports. Or
I've always wanted to work with kids in some capacity.
That's so fucked up, because me too, Shaun, but sometimes I feel like I'm not qualified.
Yes, and that's why.
But here's the thing,
right away. I always felt like teachers who taught at like 23 or like 22, like right out of teachers college, I'm like, I don't know, how much more do you know than the kids that are in class? Like, I just felt uncomfortable with it. So I wanted to have the schooling done and have it like something I can do at some point when I feel more ready to be like a mentor or whatever. So
you already are, dude, because like, think about this. You're like You're the brown me in sports.
No, I wouldn't
Think
say
about
that. I
that.
feel
Like,
like I'm
no, but like, I mean, come on, man. Like, you know your sports.
sure.
Like you always had some sports gear on you, no matter what. Even if it was like a formal dance, you'd like wear like a fucking
Oh man.
I don't know, Bronco shoes. I don't know, man. But like, but the fact that you kind of yeah. So what made you switch then?
So I did teachers college, finished it. At that time, it was only a 1 year program, so I kind of did
Mm-hmm.
that, and I started applying to a bunch of. I applied to TSN, didn't hear back because there was an opening, and then I was just doing like freelance videography, like just dog shit. I was filming like. Shout out to Luke Doucette, former RTA, or his mom
Yeah.
was letting me like film. What are they called? Focus groups. So I just take like a handy cam into a focus group and like film it and eat the food,
Oh,
and
okay.
like that got me by for a little while. Like
That's amazing. That's
really dumb
amazing.
odd jobs. Went back to Loblaws for a bit, I think, and then yeah, like and
That's
then got this
cool.
call back from TSN, and I've been there since. So that's like
When you applied, how did you find out, and where was your heart in this? Like, did you had a feeling?
so when I applied was like
Because like for me, to even think about you working for them is just like a dream. I'm
it
like, of
was.
course,
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's your tribe. That's where you fucking
Yeah,
belong.
originally
Because
that was like a dream of mine. Like I remember applying and being just like devastated I didn't even hear back. Like I didn't even get
see,
a call, I
yeah,
didn't get
man.
anything, so I was, or an email or anything. So I was like I was pretty down about that. And I was like, oh man, like that's the place I wanted to work. I feel like I've done everything to have like the extracurricular stuff. I have the
Hmm.
education for that. Didn't even hear back, so I was pretty upset. And then I was I got some teaching opportunities. Like I wasn't I didn't take it, but I had one or two opportunities that were basically like for Comtech kind of deals, which wasn't what I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach like grade 7, 8, but like a high school had expressed interest at like even just having me as a supply and like eventually bringing me on long term because they liked my interview or whatever. So
Hmm.
I was really glad I didn't take it because like a month later I heard back and like interview went well, everything was great. So I was over the moon when I got it. I feel like I'd love to be moving up. Like right now, there's not like a lot of movement there, so that's been kind of unfortunate for the last like few years. I feel like I've kind of stagnated there. But on the other hand, I mean, I'm still working
Hmm.
in sports. I do what I like, working in the content that I love every day, and like a lot of great.
I feel that when you leave that job, like you're outside, like how many hours do you work there? Like full time
Yeah, it's full
ish?
time. It's
Okay.
obviously during COVID times, it's been different. Like we've been working a lot less.
Cause dude, like this is the time now for you to like do your own little sports thing. Like just
Yeah,
talk shit. Like put it out there, talk shit. Cause I don't know, man. People want to listen to you. You got a good voice. Cause right now your voice is through that channel. But who are you?
no,
People
I feel
fucking
like I would love to do something a little more opinion based. I think that would be the goal. Like like do something a
yeah.
little more opinion
Well,
based. Because I think the play by play ship is kind of sailed, so which is fine. There
yeah,
weren't really
man.
a lot of opportunities here ever, so
Dude, I don't know anything about sports, so I'm like, well, yeah. What else is in your head that you wanna, you know? So
yeah, no. When I was younger, I wanted to do play by play, so like commentating sports. But in Canada, we have like there's only one baseball team. Baseball is like my biggest passion. So like
yeah, but
with one team, you only
how
have two jobs.
how can you? But you could like destroy it, as in like
Yeah.
just make fun of it so
Oh,
hard.
for sure. Like, yeah, there is an opportunity to do something like that, like to do a podcast or something that would be uh, equally funny as it is informative. I guess would be fun. Like, I'm still working in a field that I love, and like with people that keep you entertained every day. So that
Yeah. Is there anyone from Ryerson that you're working with, or you
oh
see
yeah,
on a daily basis? Oh, that's cool.
yeah. There's a lot of people from the year above us, like a year older than us. There's a lot of people from there. It's like Mark Rowe. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, dude, the sports
Yeah, so
bros.
he's on there.
I've seen a practicum. I've seen a
You
practicum.
have. So he's doing
Dude,
really well. He's on air and he's done like a lot of great things. He's
Jesse.
Jesse Fuchs is over at Sportsnet and he's doing really
Oh,
well as
that's
well. That's kind of
okay.
our rival,
Competent.
but
I love
our
that.
arch rival. But no, he's doing great over there, and we still talk all the time. So uh,
Yo, maybe you guys should collabo right for
yeah,
him.
we could be the new
Honestly, you could
pardon the interruption.
seriously no. That would be That would be something.
That would be pretty funny.
Because he could just like go all out, and you could go all out, and you guys have history.
Well, and he can give like the white privilege opinion, and I can give like the reality of the situation.
I love that shit.
Although Jesse grew up in probably a harder area than I did, so.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
See, we can't assume anything.
No, it's true.
Like I'm adopted, so like no one knows. You know, I'm kidding. No, that's a joke. I'll cut that.
It's really weird that your parents and you have so much resemblance, though. That's a really, really good adoption agency.
Yeah, the Black family adopted me. Yeah, man. Okay, that would get me canceled. I will edit that out. But I think the 2% from Germany would laugh at that, so I'll probably leave it. Yeah, they're probably laughing like
to know that like
it's just so funny. Like it kills me because I'm like, wow, that means I do have an audience in Germany, and if I ever do want to go there, I should set up some shows. Yo, Shaun was also there when I did stand up for the first time at Yuck. Oh God, you fucking I was
waiting for how long this is going to take to come up.
And that's why we struggle in life. That's why we work hard. That's why we get fired. That's why we get the fucking red light.
Do you want to know a fun fact about that day that you probably forget every time? Is that Jesse Fuchs was there with me.
Are you fucking
No,
with
I'm
me?
not. So Jesse and I were at that show.
So he probably thinks I'm a hack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, shit. Oh my God! Oh my God! I remember.
So he and I had been to, I think we had been like to a ball game or something before, or like we were hanging out maybe at my apartment. I don't know. Like we were doing something before, and then we came to the show, we're like, we'll go see Dan kill it for a while. We'll have a couple beers and then we'll leave, and then we'll go do something else.
Kill it for a while.
It was just assumed that you were gonna kill it. Like we didn't even like question it. We were like, oh, this will be great. This will be a great pre-drink, and then we'll go out and do something. And little did I know it was going to be the most uncomfortable moment, not of your life, of mine, apparently. And you know what I remember the weirdest thing being is that, like, your set wasn't bad. It was literally the same set that you would do for another audience, and it would kill. But that audience it just wasn't working that day. The guy before you was just super crass.
He was like, I remember.
Yeah, I just remember it being like super bro comedy about like dicks and stuff, and it was like
you killer. No, trust me, I was nervous. And I believe I have the tape. Was the host like some old white guy giving out CDs?
Oh, I don't remember.
Palenka
Maybe.
CDs.
I don't remember that, but I just remember being like, man.
Oh, you're a shit. Because for years, even up to this day, you just say red.
I know, I just say red.
You would just say red light, and I just be like,
do you remember my shitty iPad, on my shitty old iPod when I downloaded that red light app, and it was just it just made my screen red. I think I held it up at your next show. You were chilling at your next show. I just held it up anyway.
You're like, so worth the $5.99.
It was a wasteful ad. It made no sense.
Oh, dude, I love that. I love that because we know those were the years of training.
Exactly. That's like when I got kicked off. When I got kicked off at Ryerson's, like, man, this is like pretty terrible.
So proud
but on the other hand, it's like, you know what? I learned from that. I enjoyed it. Whatever. I had my
dude. I'm so proud of you for doing that because there is a percentage, a population of 2% brown sports punks, just like you, just fucking throwing it out with dude. I really want to find that audience for you, and I know they're out there because everyone in LA, dude, every single brown dude that I've met, yo, Trinity, Black, whatever, they're into sports, man. And I'm like, yo, and then I tell them about the story how you got kicked out. I'm like, yo, that's fucking. I don't know, man. Who does that?
Thinking, this is completely unrelated. It's a bit of a like.
You could have just done your job. What, Bird?
No, but I was thinking about
semen.
I'm just thinking
bed.
about biking to your auditions, and I'm thinking about like in Crashing when Pete Holmes is biking to auditions, and that dude gets work.
Never seen Crashing.
That's
here's the thing.
White and Phillip, like you're doing it out of necessity, and he was doing it and like still just like getting gigs all the time. Like this is like.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Is that weird? that like that's like, oh, that's just a funny little quirk, but like he's still getting work, whereas like you're doing it and it's like you're hoping that that doesn't hold you back.
because because here's the thing, like, okay, I don't want to assume what episode because I haven't seen
Yeah.
the show. But when he gets it, does he get it on the spot or does he wait a couple of
It
hours
depends.
and
There's been
then?
like there are different like it kind of goes through a lot of like different points of his life, I guess.
But okay, but I assume if you're watching it, you see, I could feel that the relationships that he's made with extra famous comedians who are part of
Yeah.
that show, it's
It
instant, but it's never like that.
No, and that's the thing. Like
Like
sometimes it shows how hollow they are, but most of the time it's way too quick. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm sure that's partly for TV, but also
exactly,
it makes me think like I guess that could happen if you're like a white comedian. I don't know. Like that doesn't seem like a normal
dude.
occurrence for everyone else. But
Because like I made a pretty tight, not tight relationship with Russell Peters.
Hello, I'm looking for
It's
paint.
gotten to a point where 2 Christmases ago I spent it at
oh
his
wow.
home. Dude, it was so crazy. So I've known him since Montreal. Like I remember watching him at the Comedy Works. I paid like
Yeah.
$10 to see him fucking kill it. Like in the
Was this
forum,
was
the
this
Montreal
before
forum.
or after that first
Oh, sorry,
special?
Comedy Nest.
The
Comedy
before or
Nest.
after that first special that went crazy.
I think this was like before the internet,
Yeah.
but there was a
Okay.
buzz.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I just know him as like a killer comedian, just like nice guy. Every time he sees Filipinos, he just fucking points at us and bigs us up and then puts us down, and that's how
Sure.
you do it.
Yeah.
Like every single minority, or in Montreal, every single person that was there got shat
That was
on.
his thing, and that's like it worked for him.
Yeah, and then and that's when I was living in Montreal, and then when I moved to Toronto, I got into comedy, and then hence the red light. Because of Riot, I got an agent, and at one point, when I went back to Montreal for the summertime, it was just for laughs, and my agent was there, and then I bumped into Russell, and then I told him, "Hey, man, I saw you back at the Comedy Nest." He's like, "Oh, I remember you guys. You guys are cool." And then he's like, "You comic?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm with Louise." He's like, "Oh, she's cool." And I'm like, in my head, I was like, "Wait, we're talking." This is like not even as a fan, as in like, oh, yo, Dan is at this festival as a client. I was just
you're
there,
a colleague
like,
or a peer at that point.
yeah. And then that was Toronto, and then fast forward to LA on my first year. I'm living in Hollywood, right beside the In-N-Out. It's so crazy on Sunset, and I'm living with my friend Ron Jossel. He's another Filipino comedian, very amazing mentor, dude. So at one point I get this Instagram thing. Oh, Andy Dick is hosting a free show. I'm like, what? Yo, you're laughing already. Andy Dick is king. Okay, so Andy Dick is hosting a free comedy show at this place called Adults Only on La Brea and Sunset. It's like a little hidden bar. Like you go in and it's just porn, smut, videos, and then you enter this door and then it's this big ass bar. So on a Wednesday night, Andy Dick is hosting a show. Russell Peters is DJing. I'm like, what the fuck?
Speakeasy.
At a porn speakeasy on a Wednesday. And I'm like thinking, just for laughs, we'll never have these shows. This is a free show. So I tell my girlfriend Carla, hey, do you want to just walk on over and say what's up? And she's like, of course. So we go there. We go to Speakeasy, and I'm like, dude, there was no cover. The place was stacked. Everyone looked like they were in Yorkville. And if you don't know what Yorkville is, it's like a bougie part of Toronto. And I'm like, this is a Wednesday after.
Did you
dress
up?
Night. What did you even have to ask that? Of course not. You fucking. My ugly troll toes were showing. I was in my dirty dirt. No. I looked okay. I looked decent, that was just for the story. So, so I go in and I see Andy Dick just like doing his Andy Dick thing, and then I see David Cockner there, and I'm like, holy shit, he's doing stand up too. And as soon as we entered, I see Russell walking towards me. And he's like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, hey, man, it's me, Dan. He's like, yeah, I remember you. And he's like, you're here? Like, you're in LA? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm living with Ron now. And he's like, oh, I feel sorry for you. Because Russell and Ron, like, they grew up back
I
in
was gonna say they had to
Scarborough
go
and,
back
you know,
because
did
they were
comedy
like
and stuff.
I,
Yeah.
I
Yo, they go
I
way
figured that I
back.
assumed they lived in the same area because I feel like I've heard them talk about each other or something.
Oh, yeah, man. They did shows back then and still to this day. But so remember the relationship I made from seeing him in
Yeah.
Montreal Forum, the Comedy Nest, then to the Just for Laughs part of my agent that he knew. Her name was Louise Parent. Shout outs to her. She got me kudo.
Kudo.
Yo, are they still using my body type? Because every time, yo, did I tell you about the lawsuit?
I don't think
anyway.
so. No, I know the lawsuit. I don't think they're still using your body type.
Do you know about the fucking gingerbread face that looks like me?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even want to get into that. So fast forward to me meeting Russell Peters, DJing at Andy Dick's thing. And I found out that he was going to host with Andy Dick and do a set. And I'm like, in my head, I just went back to me as a kid. I'm like, whoa, a free Russell Peters set with Andy Dick?
That's amazing.
That's nuts, you know? And then he goes, yo, you want some time?
Whoa.
And I'm like, yeah.
Of course.
And the fucking music is bumping and everyone's drinking on a Wednesday. Shaun, I didn't have a pen or paper. I was just there as a fan. Like, I'm a nobody. I'm just a guy that wants to see a free show. My girlfriend's an accountant. And all of a sudden, she sees me talking to Russell Peters. Like, who are you?
I'm a star, obviously.
And then he goes, you want some time? You want some time? And I go, and then all I could think of you is with your fucking red light in the back. But I'm like, fuck Shaun. So I go, yeah. And he goes, you want 15? And I go, uh-huh. And he slaps me in the back. So you go, 15, good. And he walks away. And I'm like, what the fuck? I tell Carla, here, take my card, order whatever you want. Just sit up front. Let me chill in the back. Dude, this was the lineup. It was Andy Dick and Russell hosting for like 10, 15 minutes, you know, doing their thing together, which was cool. Russell goes back to DJ. Andy Dick does a set. And then Russell does a killer set. David Cockner does a killer set.
This lineup is insane.
On the third. Oh, and the entire time, Funny or Die is like recording all this, and I'm dying inside. And I'm like, I don't have my pen and paper. I'm not gonna take up my phone.
Is it easy for you to laugh and like appreciate the sense of other people when you're?
No, I was just in the back. I'm just in the back nodding my head because I'm going over my jokes, looking out.
I feel like you'd be like just shitting your pants the whole time.
It's like this. Hey, Shaun, do you want to be CNN's first Canadian sports correspondent? And we're going to fly you to New York and LA or wherever you want to go right now.
Like, other people doing it for the next 10, 20 minutes. And then you're
yeah.
All right.
So the whole time, this was in my head. I got one joke at the beginning and one joke at the end and everything in the middle. I'm just going to flow. And then as I'm watching, I'm like, wow, this is adults only. We could get dirty. We could get stankier. So my first thing that I do is I think I'm shoving my head into an anus just so I could get the fucking, reaction. Oh yeah, here's the thing. So after the third comedian, I'm like, yo, Russell, what am I on? He's like, oh, you're headlining.
What?
I'm like, huh?
What? No.
It's like, what? It's like, oh, and before you, it's going to be David Cockner, and then we're going to have John Cleese's daughter. I'm like, John Cleese has a daughter? He's like, yeah, John Cleese has a daughter. She's going to do 20, and then you're going to do 10, 15.
John Cleese there, too?
I'm like, oh. Whoa. No, he wasn't. His daughter's name is Camille Cleese. She's funny.
It would have been weird if it was Khalees Cleese. But all right.
I don't want to get canceled, Shaun, so we don't have to get that out. She's like half. Yeah, so she does it, and then I do my thing. In my head, I thought it went okay. But all I heard from the back is Andy Dick and Russell just go nuts. When I shoved my head into the thing, that's all I want. When you get their approval,
who cares what everybody else says?
Because as soon as I was done my set, that's all I remembered. Like the 10 minutes just went by so fast, and then Russell's DJing till like 3 a.m. So the entire time, as soon as the shit was over, Andy was like, "Oh, that was so crazy. You shoving your hand to a butthole? Ew." And I'm like, "That's all I needed to hear." And I'm like, "Can I take a picture?" He's like, "Sure."
Nice.
Yeah, I took a picture. So and then we like partied till like 2:30. Russell's like playing the craziest, like weirdest 80s retro
how
shit.
big a flex is this on?
Because here's the thing, man.
Like, is all of a sudden she's just like, "Am I dating like a superstar? Like what?"
I didn't even think about that.
We're just gonna go to this small show. Don't worry about it. We're just gonna hang out in the back. Maybe we'll watch that. Oh, I'm headlining it, by the way.
You fuck. You're so funny.
I
never even thought of that. I could use that.
Thinking that, like, oh, I'm meeting this guy who's like this,
God.
struggling comedian. He's doing the best he can. He's trying to get any little gig, and then like, oh, he's just like boys with all these like big time comedians.
Hey Jim, did you hear that guy? He's looking for paint.
That's amazing.
Yo, that was my first year in LA. The second year I met Bobby Lee. That was a crazy one. That was a really crazy one. I met Bobby Lee right before I did a CBS audition. But I don't know if I want to talk about that. Should I talk about that? That's quick. Okay, so CBS has a CBS showcase, and then this is so fucking crazy. So they asked me to do 4 characters, and all these characters are original. Okay, my first one is of Hector, the KFC manager. So I'm like, "Hi, my name is Hector. Welcome to KFC. What can I get?" I don't know. It's so stupid. Anyway, so I got my 4 characters there, and then I was planning on, because this was all the way up in North Hollywood on the CBS whatever area, and I was planning on taking a bus through the mountains all the way down to the Comedy Store. So I do the audition, and I enter. Shaun, just imagine that's a helicopter. Hold on. And they're looking at me now. Kidding. Black Cock Dad. Okay, that's canceled. So I go in to the audition, and then everyone's already eyeing me, like 7 white people just not really caring. We're talking over each other, and I'm just there standing. And then this one lady goes, so what's up? I'm talking to her, and I see this dude. His name is Rick. He just looks at me. He's just sitting there. And then he goes, "You're a restaurant manager." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "You're a restaurant manager, right?" And I'm like, in my heart and in my head, I'm like, "How the fuck do you know that that's going to be my first character?" And I'm like, "How?" And then I just freak out. I'm like, "How'd you know?" And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "How'd you know?" And then I take out my notepad, and then I show him my character, like number 1, KFC restaurant manager. And that just fucking threw me off. And then he's like, "Okay, we're going to start the audition." I'm like, okay. So I do my audition. In my head, I think I did great. But everyone else was just in their butts that whatever, they didn't really care. So I leave, and then I go to the Comedy Store, and then Carla meets me there. Then as soon as we get there, Bobby Lee and Chris D'Elia just starts. These are 2 other comics, like really fucking amazing comics. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm just saying it because we always see them in LA as if it's nothing, insane. But they're there. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, "Oh my God, Bobby Lee. We kind of have the same hair because when I moved to LA, I just let my hair grow." And Shaun D'Souza knows that my hair is always cut. It's always trimmed. It's never long. Have you ever seen me with long hair? I mean, now, but like back then.
When I first met you,
wait, in Toronto,
really long hair. And then
I had a mohawk. When
I first met you, had a mohawk.
I think on on the first year I shaved.
I don't think I knew you. I knew that, but I don't think I knew you really in first year. Yeah,
I think we got closer on the
long
second
hair for
year,
a bit, but most of the time it was cut. Most of the time it was shorter.
Yeah. So I'm at the Comedy Store. I'm looking at Bobby Lee, and I'm like, "Wow, we have the same hair." And I'm like, I can't go up to him. He's, like, yo, you know me, Shaun. I did sketch at Riot. he does sketch at MTV. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of insane. And then Carla goes, go talk to him. He's looking in our direction.
And what do
I'm
you
like, nah.
start that
And
conversation?
Carla goes, okay, so Crystalia leaves, and now Bobby's alone, kind of just staring at us. And Carla goes, I'm going to go to the bar and get 2 beers. And if I come back and you're not talking to him, we're going to leave.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, fine. So she goes to the bar, and this is like 2017 at this point. And then he's looking at me laughing. He's just like, hey, and I'm like looking at him laughing. And he's just like, waves me over. He's like, hey, get over here. And then as I'm walking, I'm already laughing. I'm like, yo, man. And then like he just hugs me. He's like, yo, man, what's up? I'm like, yo. And I'm like, yo, man, it's you. He's like, yo, are you Filipino? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yo, my girlfriend's Filipino. I'm like, that's awesome. He's like, yo, your girlfriend's Filipino too, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's just like mad dogging me, but smiling the whole time. And then you know what? The whole time I'm like, yo, he's downloading what he's seeing. Because as he's smiling, this is what he asked me. He's like, yo, you're a comic, right? You're a comic? I'm like, yo, of course, man. He's like, yo, you do the store? Like, why haven't I seen you here? You got to hang out. I'm like, yo, Shaun, my heart just filled. It was like a big brother, like but
your
Bobby
idol
Lee,
like,
dude.
It's just bringing you in and treating you like your family. It's crazy.
Dude. And I'm like, yeah, man. And you know what he says? He's like, you know what? You're better looking than one of the other Filipino comics or Asian comics here. I'm like, who is it? Tell me. He's like, nah, I can't tell you that. You gotta see it. And I'm like, oh shit. And then I tell him about this guy named Rick Nahara. I think I'm gonna get rid of Nahara. But here's the thing: he actually got kicked out of CBS for being weird with the ladies. So that's why. So anyway, so let's go back to Bobby Lee. Dude, I'm feeling the love. He's feeling the love. He's like, yo, man, you gotta hang out. I'm like, yeah, I just got here. You know, he's like, I want to see you around. Blah blah blah. And then I go, yo, man, this guy named Rick. Oh yeah, by the way, let's rewind a couple of hours later. Rick Nahara goes, yeah, man, the reason why I know you're going to be like a restaurant manager is because I used to write for Bobby Lee on Mad TV. This was at the CBS Showcase. I'm like, what? The diversity showcase, quote unquote, diversity. He goes, even though everyone there was white, he goes, yeah, I work for Bobby Lee. I wrote for him, and you know, so you got have that kind of vibe, and that's why I could kind of tell, and that kind of fucked me up because I'm like, whoa, he's already comparing me to Bobby Lee. I've never even met him. I don't even know if I'm ever gonna meet him. And then hours later, I'm at the Comedy Store and I'm seeing him, eyeing me, mad dogging me, smiling, hoping that I'm a comic. And when I say yes,
such
he's
a
like
weird
laughing.
Confluence of events.
And then I just go, yo, you don't know a guy named Rick Nahara? He just goes silent. He's like, Rick? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, you mean Rick no haha? I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, man. He wrote for me for like not even one season Mad TV. He sucked. That's why he I'm like, what? He's like, he sucked. That's why we fired him. I'm like, yo, he was like big up and he's like, nah, man, he didn't write anything for me. He's like, did it feel weird? I'm like, yeah, man, I felt weird being here. He's like, nah, man, you don't need that shit. I'm like, yo. And then Carla comes by and then she tells Bobby, hey, before you came here, I took a picture with you up in New York. And then he showed Bobby like of 2014 with her there. And then, yeah, man, he was just so nice. And yeah, so at that point, I didn't know he had a podcast. I just knew him as a comic, just doing a thing. And then this other Cambodian comic named Cooper Lee. Shout out to Koopa Lee. He does this thing about him working at a donut shop and him coming on donuts.
I'm pretty sure I've seen
as glaze. It's so funny. So
yeah.
So okay. Oh, you're the one who's been commenting like more glaze. Yo, Drake is horny for more glaze.
This is really weird. There is a porno that I've seen where at the end it's filmed in a donut shop and then the guy comes on a donut and makes her eat it after. Just throwing that out there.
Oh. My mouth is wide open as if I'm going to receive the glaze. Okay, I'll kind of cut that out. So Cooper goes, "Hey man, you're Asian." I'm like, "Yeah, man." Cooper used to run an open mic in Hollywood. It's so funny. Him and Chris Sanders, dude, get this. 2 Cambodian dudes running a comedy open mic in Hollywood. That was nuts. That's why I went every single Tuesday. So Cooper kind of, put me up in the shows, and he introduced me to Tiger Belly, which is Bobby Lee's podcast. And he goes, "Yeah, man, you got to listen to this. Bobby Lee's doing a podcast." I'm like, "Wait, he's doing that?" Like, I thought he was just doing stand-up. He's like, "No, man, listen." So I start listening. I'm dying of laughter. I'm like, "Wow, this is insane." And then I end up going to a podcast group meetup with all those folks. And then I met with Gilbert, who's one of the producers, and George. And then look, like a couple of years later,
that's so
I'm opening up for him. But here's the thing: the day of me opening up for like the weekend, I fucking his best friend Brody Stevens passed away.
I do, yeah.
I don't know if you know that dude, but like he was a big sports dude too. Like, watch his shit, yo, dude. So like, imagine that. Like, as Cooper and I were driving, like Cooper's like, "I can't believe you're gonna be opening for Bobby Lee today." I'm like, "This is insane." And all of a sudden you hear that, and then you're like, "Yeah, that show's canceled." And I'm like, "What?" So, I only got one show left, which is on a Sunday. And dude, the energy was weird because, of course, you don't want to perform, but I did the show. He was grateful. I was grateful, and then
I remember that. That I did see.
Tiger Belly,
and that was really funny. But that's crazy that like these people that you grew up watching and like idolizing are now like you're in their consciousness. Like people, like that's such a wild. But again, getting back to the Pete Holmes thing, this took years. It's not like a overnight thing, right? Like it's
exactly. I love that.
Yeah, like that's like it's one of those things that just doesn't. And I understand some of that is for TV and some of it's for effect, but I also believe that it can work.
Maybe he just knew that his time was. But yeah, no, it doesn't just go like that. Like, I feel that if from episode 1 to 2 is just like 2 or 3 days after, no, it should be months, weeks, years. You want to see the growth. You want to see. Because
it's just not real. Like,
man.
Parts of it are realistic. Where you're like, oh, okay, like you'll see like kind of like the grimy comedy kind of areas, but then it's like, but this doesn't really equate when like all of a sudden the timelines are sped up to the point where it doesn't make any sense, and you're like, oh, you could meet all these people in like 2 weeks since you lost your okay. Cool.
First of all, they should like. Do they even know you're funny, or do they even like you?
Like,
and are you the type?
I don't know.
Like, yo, you know me. When I was at Ryerson, I just flowed. You too, dude. That's why I was like, damn, Shaun's a people person. You can make black, white, Asian, brown, green, illegal, legal, anyone laugh through some way.
I just feel like it's one of those things where
you hope so.
I think you either have it or you don't. And people will know pretty soon, right? Like
that's why when podcasts, you feel that some people can't cut it. Can't cut this. Look, dude, I'm looking at the time and I can't believe it's been 101 minutes right now.
That is pretty wild.
What
also,
is that?
I like that yours goes 101 minutes and mine goes by an hour 41. And for a second, I was like, wait, never mind. I'm reading this not like a brown person.
Shaun and I used to sleep together. Let's put it out there. Shaun and I used to sleep together. Shaun and I, listen, when I moved to Toronto, I lived in a basement up in Keele. This Keele area and every time I was drunk or I knew it was going to be a long Friday night at the Ram, Shaun would be so nice to let me, crash. And dude, those were some fun times. I really appreciate that because here's the thing, the luxury of just being there right by a school. Well, how was that for you?
First year at university, I did.
Did you ever have to?
I was commuting, so I was going back to Mississauga. Taking the GO train every day. And then the second year.
Whoa, for lectures too? Like 8 a.m. Friday lectures?
Make it.
Oh my God. That's why you always come in sleepy, yo. Yo, fucking sleepy.
I was so tired.
Charlie Brown, you're sleepy Brown.
Sorry. But yeah, after that, from second year on, I moved downtown and it made a huge difference. It just felt like you had more of a community. if that made any sense. It was just like you felt like you were with like your friends all the time. It didn't feel like you were kind of like isolate going home immediately after class, or like, you know, going for lunch with a couple of guys and then going home. You know?
Mm-hmm. I want to describe Shaun's trek. So what was the
first
street
one was
called
at
again? The first
was
one
on Gerard and Pembroke. Pembroke was the street.
Okay, Pembroke. Yes. So I would walk on whatever street to get there, and you
Hooker
would pass
Harvey's.
by Hooker Harvey.
God.
Very aptly named. There would usually be hookers inside. And outside.
Not working at Harvey's, giving blowjob at a man named Harvey.
No, just usually just like having like a post or pregame
Harvey
meal.
Weinstein.
That's where they'd be. They'd just be hanging out there.
Yo, that fucking his name is triggering now.
Weird.
Hooker Harvey Weinstein.
Worst.
That's the street. So you walk by there, and then you walk by the I believe there would be like a native community center.
There's like a halfway house
to the
or
right.
something along those lines.
Right, and a beautiful park with a weird green
like a botanical
house,
garden
whatever with that.
Inside,
what was
like,
that?
Allen Gardens, which Allen Gardens was like this park that during the day might have looked okay, but at night was super sketchy. Even during the day, during the day,
when it hit 3
p.m. Like, I remember
yeah.
walking to school past that, and there'd be guys just like homeless guys just throwing up, you know, at like 11 a.m. in that park, and be like, oh, okay, cool. Walk my kid through it later, but
yeah. So your home was in this big home with a broken gate, but you got to pretend that the gate was, you know, locked just for, you know. I don't know if you had to buzz me in or not, but dude, I remember the trek walking up and then the makeshift corridors and makeshift steps. Am I right?
Trying to move furniture into there.
It just got smaller, like fucking Alice in Wonderland's
in New York, they call them walk-ups. So it was like a 5-story walk-up with, it was like in an old Victorian house that had been like segmented into like 11 apartments or something. Yes.
Yeah, meant for one person.
Like really old rich person. Instead, this was, I mean, our place was relatively big when you walked in.
It was fucking beautiful, and you were living with S, dude, and it was just, yeah, he had a studio there. He was chill. You were chill. It was a
nice setup. I remember, I'm pretty sure when S was away, you occasionally slept in his bed, and we just didn't tell him.
Worst.
Instead of on the couch.
S, I'm sorry. S, I'm gonna hashtag S if you're listening. I'm S sorry.
I think the first now. I don't even know if it was just unspoken, and I just woke up and like, Dan's in there. Yeah, that makes sense.
But you know, what? You know what? Here's the thing, S. Let me tell you, you were the one that inspired me to actually hook up my keyboard to my computer. Yeah. Because I was very skeptical, and I'm like, wait. And I'm just looking at his setup. I'm like, wait, you could do this? Yeah. Of course it makes sense. Because I don't know. I never knew that you could, like, the technology at the time.
That's a long time ago, right?
Was insane.
I don't think people realized how.
Okay, right now it's 2020, right? 2020. I could hook up my keyboard to the computer, play whatever bullshit notes, and then the computer is going to score it perfectly onto a music sheet. If you told me that in 2004 that could happen, I would say bullshit. How can that be possible? How can you know the timing? How can you know the flats, the sharps, the notes, the time? Like, it's so crazy. So, like, I was very skeptical until I'm like, wait, no,
you could watch him do it. He had his little
pretty cool.
There, right? Also, funny thing about S's room is the wall, because it was like a makeshift wall, didn't reach all the way to the window. So we had to put a pine tree that my mom gave us, and we put that to like separate, like to fully separate the wall. Or the room. And so this is a crazy story. So back like when we were leaving, we were all moving out of that place after the first year. A lot of our friends who lived in that kind of crack town kind of area of Toronto, we all moved out except for Ginger for some reason. So Ginger Jarvis, shout out to LA again.
Ginger Jarvis.
So, we're moving out, and we had to try to break our lease 3 months early because we didn't want to pay for, you know, the summer. And so I've been talking to two of our friends.
Right.
So I've been talking to our friends down the street, Kat and Ashley, and they were like, And I told him, hey, you know what we should do? We should come up with like some kind of like we're going to do like some missionary work or something. You know, like I had the Catholic Church like connections.
Oh my
We'll do some
God!
like
You're
we'll do some
Catholic.
missionary work. We'll say we're doing something and it's in another country and we can't like afford to pay. You know, we're trying to raise money for these like nations or whatever. And those girls took the idea before us and used it only for them. So they broke their lease. I'm like, oh God, what are we gonna do now? So then we went and gave like almost the same excuse to our landlords, who were like an Asian lady who was like very like she was kind of hard, kind of aggressive, and then this white man who would wear like hats from Big It Up, these weird hats that did not suit an old graying man. He'd come to our house like to do like repairs or like while repairs were happening, and he'd just fall asleep on the couch and be there for like hours.
Is that Dan or the landlord?
So we tell the, like I'm like, hey, yeah, we're doing this missionary work back in my home country of Kenya.
Hey Jim, did you hear that guy? He's looking for paint.
The church, it's awesome, and I felt so bad about it. I hated doing it, but I was like, we can't afford these next 3 months. We have no jobs. We're just finished school, so like we're in second year university. We have no money. So I'm like, okay, so I can't afford to be here in the summer. So we tell them that. They say, yeah, okay. Like I feel like your friends are doing something similar. Yeah, we're all doing very similar work. And then. Yeah, we're doing similar work. I don't know. We're all really like we love getting back to the communities, and you know we're all very Catholic.
You guys are the hell
after this. Like a week goes by, and my mom's like, "Hey, did you ever bring back that plant of mine, like the big like pine tree kind of thing, the evergreen that I gave you to separate it?" I'm like, "Oh no, we forgot it. Like I don't know. Does it matter? I really want my plant back." And I was like, "But we told them we left." And she's like, well, you guys still have the key, and like nobody's there, right? Like no one's moved in. And I'm like, oh my God. So we're trying to like sneak, like, actually no, we didn't have the key. So I had to ask them for the key to get in. So I go back with my dad, and I'm like, I can't believe we're doing this. So I go back to get this thing, and they're like, oh, we thought you had left already for your missionary work. Why are you still here? And her first question was, I thought you guys were in Kenya. I'm like, yeah, like the funding didn't come through yet. We still need to make a little bit more money. We're still trying to fundraise a little bit more. So we're actually leaving in 2 weeks, hopefully, if everything comes through. Like it was just this web of like nonsense lies. I'm such a bad liar. I felt so bad about it. But my mom was thrilled because she got her tree back.
Yeah.
So I assume they knew and they were just like being nice and letting us. But if they didn't, then that's been fun.
Like, wow, this guy really needed a plan.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, I just got back from Kenya, but I just needed that plan because I'm gonna bring it to Kenya.
Yeah, I'm taking it to Kenya. Yeah, they don't have evergreen trees there, so we want to plant it.
I'm gonna give them the first evergreen tree.
They need a real Christmas tree, not one of those trees from the Serengeti. They need a Christmas tree to really understand the work of Jesus and Santa Claus.
Dude, that's so crazy.
Yeah, it was. We apparently that area that we lived in used to be at that time called like it was part of the Four Corners. It was within the Four Corners. And the Four Corners were like a lot of like just like crack houses and like shelters and like dangerous kind of not the nicest area.
So you were in the box.
Yeah, in Toronto's box.
Okay.
Yeah, get that. Couldn't always eat your way out of that. It was just before like Regent Park, but yeah. So
yeah, the landlord was like, "Yo, I didn't know Drake was from Kenya."
God.
Sorry. That's so offensive.
It's not at all. Oh
man. Fuck, that's so crazy. Man,
I'm glad you called today. This is awesome. I did not expect it at all, and I totally thought like when you were calling, it was going to be on video, and I was like, man, I don't know if this guy's ready for just like naked me taking a shit in the morning. But I'm like, whatever.
No, man. I feel
happen.
Like, yo, man, I've been walking around, jumping up and down in this apartment, so like,
yeah,
it's good. It's yeah, Shaun, it's always good times. Wait, how did we come up with Bird? Wait,
I don't know if I know.
Forget it.
Like, I feel like it was something about.
It was someone. I think it was someone that we were referring.
Yes, I know the someone, but I don't remember if I remember the context. Like I feel like it might have been like at the old Sky Dome, like how like the Jays
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah,
wanting to
sure,
push
yeah.
like off the upper deck and hoping he would just fly or shut up bird. Like I don't know, something like
And then-
that. But I don't know. If
Hey,
that's
it's a
true.
blue jay. Yeah, that sounds about
I
right.
don't know if that's true or just what I remember.
Man, I don't know if I should just put the entire chunk or cut it up.
I don't know.
No, I mean it's. I don't think we said anything that bad.
I mean, the videos part maybe.
Me neither.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
Me neither, guy. I'm not admitting.
We're good
it.
people.
Never seen it. You know who saw it? Who saw the nothing?
So what?
Saw. I don't know.
I don't even know what we're talking about. We can cut this.
Yeah. Okay. Let's cut off. Let's just. You know what? Let's just. I wasn't even recording. Yo, dude. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop now before my phone heats up and whatever. But Shaun, this is too much fun,
awesome.
man. Whoever's gonna be listening to this is gonna realize how funny and great you are, and you should do your own podcast. Hopefully soon.
Well, if that ever happens, you'll be one of the first guests. I can guarantee you that.
No, that's cool. Okay, Shaun, thanks, man. I'm gonna end it off here.
All right, man. Have a good one.
That's me ending it. All right, we're gonna end it off here. Dan, shut it now. Clip it here. All right, love you, Shaun.
Love you too,
Thanks
man.
again
Take
for
care.
everything, man. All right,
Stay safe.
Peace.
Later.
Yo. That's been Ramo Stories. It's been Ramo Stories with Dan. Ramos. Me, your man. I am sitting down, trying to freestyle, but I have no style, you see. I'm not wearing anything as I'm editing the sounds. I'm in my boxers. I got no socks on. I got no hat on. I got nothing going on. It's a COVID day. It's a COVID night. It's a COVID life. What happened to Corona? I don't know. Corona. Alright, that was embarrassing. Thanks for listening to Ramo Stories with Shaun D'Souza. I love you. 2% from Germany. Willst du mein Mulsken sehen?